Yes, well, Eskom will be implementing stage 2 load shedding over the weekend. The power utility says this will be in effect from 6 a.m. until 11 p.m. on both Saturday and Sunday. Eskom earlier announced that its system was severely constrained due to heavy demand. For more on this, I'm joined now by a spokesperson, Sikonati Manchancha. A very good evening to you and thank you so much for joining us.
Good evening, dear, and thanks for having me on the show.
Well, let's first of all get you to confirm that indeed we are going into load shedding this weekend and specify the times for us as well as the reason why.
Yes, absolutely correct. It is indeed regretful that starting at 6 a.m., both on Saturday and on Sunday, Eskom will implement stage 2 load shedding going all the way to 11 p.m. on both days. Here, this has not been caused by high demand, as you previously stated. Eskom has stated that a high amount of breakdowns at its power stations are the significant contributor to the reason we're having load shedding. In addition to the high maintenance that Eskom has committed to conducting, we've got about 7,500 megawatts of capacity that is out on planned maintenance. This is long-term maintenance that takes months to complete, and we then have had this unfortunate situation of more than 10,500 megawatts of generation units that have broken down.
And with these generating units that have broken down, how long do you think it'll take to get them back up on the grid?
We are working around the clock to return as many of them as possible. The thing with these generation units, in total, Eskom's system has got about 70 generation units each. He has got in total about 70 generation units. Now, on any given hour, one machine will break down, and the reasons depend, of course, and of course the length of the breakdown. So some will come back online during the week and some during the weekend. But the reality is that the machines are unreliable, as we have been saying quite a while. And while another one returns to service, another breaks. So that's where we are at this point.
So in addition to the load shedding that's planned for this weekend, if the rest of the generating units don't come back online on time, will we see some places actually experiencing load reduction, which happens oftentimes during the week?
These are two different things. Load reduction has got absolutely nothing to do with shortage of capacity. Load reduction is when Eskom has got no problem supplying electricity to the whole country, but is implemented in order to stop explosions and damage to equipment. In the areas where you have high rates of theft, of electricity theft through illegal connections, where people just overload the network, it does not at all help with reducing demand on the system. Load shedding is the situation we are having at this point when Eskom itself is unable to meet demand due to the breakdowns that I've spoken about.
And just lastly, I mean, some South Africans have been just speculating on social media about the possibility of a Black Christmas. Do you think that things will be okay by the time we get to Christmas? Of course, we can't explain or predict when a breakdown might happen, but according to Eskom's plans and the planned maintenance, are we looking forward to having enough power on Christmas Day?
Dear, we have told the people of South Africa, and we will repeat this. There is a high risk of load shedding throughout the period, all the way to September 2021. Things will start getting slightly better during the second quarter of 2021. So we urge the people again and to remember that there always is high risk that we may have to implement load shedding at any time. And we are making a commitment to informing the public timeously should the need arise. So I will not come here and say on this day we will and on this day we will not have, because of the very situation that these machines are quite unreliable. And it's really difficult to be able to tell people with any degree of confidence when you will have this.
Just before you go, I want to give you an opportunity to speak to our viewers just to encourage them to use electricity sparingly during this festive period.
Thanks for the opportunity. The first thing to do is to thank the people of South Africa for their cooperation and assistance. When we ask them to reduce demand, they respond positively. For that, we thank them. However, that as it happens at this very point is not always enough. We therefore urge the people to be on the lookout and again to always reduce the usage of electricity. We will continue having these problems from time to time, and we are doing everything that we can to overcome the issue. We are looking towards late next year where we might reduce this occurrence of load shedding. I am careful here not to say we will end load shedding, because what will end load shedding is new generation capacity, building new power stations that will be more reliable, and that way we will be able to see the back of load shedding. But towards the end of 2021, the risk might be significantly reduced due to the work that Eskom is conducting on the plant currently.
Thank you so much for joining us this evening, Eskom spokesperson Sikonati Manchanja.